In this video, I've traveled to Las Vegas, Nevada, where I have rented on Turo this first-generation Audi R8 Spyder. In the video, I'm going to point out all the flaws that this car has and give some pointers for people who might be shopping to buy a first-generation R8. So stick around. Let me start by telling you a bit about this car. This is a 2011 Audi R8 V10 Spyder. The first generation R8 was sold from the 2007 through 2015 model years, and in 2011 was the first year the Spyder was an option. This car has the Lamborghini-sourced 5.2-liter V10 engine, making 525 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. This is the same engine that appeared in the 2011 Lamborghini Gallardo. There were two transmission options, the 6-speed manual, or what this car has, the 6-speed automated manual that Audi refers to as R-Tronic. In the Gallardo, it was called the E-gear transmission, and as I will comment later, it does not have a good reputation. The car uses the Audi Quattro all-wheel drive system with a 70% bias towards the rear wheels. Options on the car include carbon fiber Sigma exterior mirrors and the carbon fiber Sigma interior option. Original window sticker was likely around $176,000. And if you're curious, the cost on Turo for 24 hours was $365 and includes up to 100 miles. This car now has over 47,000 miles on it. And as the expression goes, it was like a horse that was ridden hard and put away wet. It had a lot of issues. Some of the issues I will point out on this car are Audi R8 specific, while others are just issues you might find on any automobile. Let's start with the exterior. Now, this is going to be tough to spot in a video, but I'll do my best. I washed the car and dried it off with a microfiber towel, and then when you run your hand across it, you can see and feel all these little pits in the paint. So the gentleman told me that he lives in Arizona and it's been out in the sun quite a bit, and the entire car is this way with these tiny little spots. And now, a good detail maybe in rubbing compound, maybe you take some of that off, but that's for a detailing expert to say. But that's certainly something I would suggest you run your hand over the car. And do you feel any resistance to your hand, would tell you perhaps you have paint issues you got to deal with. So with any automobile, you want to take a look at the rims and the tires, of course. And these rims, if you look closely, you can see it's got curb rash all over it. So somebody has not treated this car very well. And then while you're here, of course, like any other automobile, you should probably check what the date code is on the tires. So what you're looking for is over here, here's your DOT 2523. Looks like 25th week of 2023 is when these were made. So that should be good. If you got enough tread left, they certainly are young enough. That shouldn't be an issue. Now to open the frunk, that button is hidden right in here. So that's your fuel release door, and that's your frunk. You push that, and it will release the mechanism on the front. The first time I tried this on this car, I grabbed under here and lifted, and it was binding on the driver's side and didn't want to open. So, and I talked to the owner, and he said, yeah, you push the button again. But last time I tried this, it worked just fine. And so that's how you open to get access to your frunk. While we're talking about the frunk, my understanding is, based on what I've learned, is you got to be careful with these corners and see if they've caught on anything, if they've been damaged or bent in any way. So you might want to take a look at both sides of the hood and make sure it's in good condition. Another item the owner had pointed out to me is during a previous Turo rental, someone had run the passenger side into a curb. And so when you look on the lower part of that front clip, you'll see a big scrape mark where they hit something. And now that whole front end is going to have to get repainted. Now I'm going to cover some of the problems found in the interior. So when I got in to drive it, and I put it in manual mode, and I decided to use the paddles. The first time I grabbed this paddle, what did it do? It fell right off. As I was on my way to pick up the car, the owner messaged me to let me know, hey, don't worry, there is a check engine light that is on. There it is, you can see up there. And he says it's an EVAP problem and that the part is on back order from Audi. and it's intermittent. So sometimes he will clear the code and it'll be fine for a while, and then it'll come back. Now this particular car, you take a look especially at the driver's seat, which of course gets the most use. Let me pan out a little bit. You can see the amount of wear that the seat has gotten. I mean, the car is 13 years old, and of course a lot of wear tends to be right in here too. So, and then here on the bolsters, people are climbing in and out, and so that's something to look for as well. Now when you're looking at the car, you should probably inspect the headliner and see what kind of condition it's in. Is it taut? Is it hanging down at all? One of the things I noticed after putting the top up and down a couple times, look at this. I've got this string that's hanging out from the top. I'll just kind of tuck it in, but yeah, that's not supposed to be there. Now, the nav system is, by today's standards, pretty archaic. I apologize for the sun, but you might be able to see with the reflection that it's pretty beat up. I think I've got a picture I can show you about how that screen looks. It doesn't look too bad right now. And then there is this button here that you can flip open, and you'll see it has 2 SD card slots. It's got a DVD in there for the nav system. Obviously, with any automobile, you want to check all the controls in the interior of a vehicle, but in the R8 in particular, you definitely want to make sure that that nav system does flip open properly. It certainly goes without saying that you're going to want to check the top mechanism to make sure it's properly going up and down. But after you've checked that, don't forget to also check the wind deflector, which is this button here, just below where the button is to open and lower the top, and make sure that wind deflector goes up and down properly. This button below the transmission should also be checked to make sure the rear spoiler goes up and down properly. The spoiler is also designed to deploy at speeds above 100 kilometers per hour or 62.5 miles per hour. As I mentioned earlier, the transmission in this car does not have a good reputation. The 6-speed R-Tronic is a single-clutch automatic, and I found that the shifts were very slow and clunky. When I used manual mode, it seemed to behave much better. If you have a choice, I suggest you purchase an R8 with a manual transmission, but they do tend to fetch a premium over the R-Tronic equipped cars. Now, I'm not a mechanic, so I will not dive into issues to look for when it comes to the engine and transmission. There are other YouTubers out there that have covered this subject that you should check out. I do want to conclude by saying that despite all the issues, I really enjoyed my day driving this 2011 R8 V10 Spyder. It looks great, it's fast, it's comfortable, and it gets a lot of attention. As I drove through Red Rock on the outskirts of Las Vegas, each time I would stop, people would come up and ask to take pictures with the car. It certainly was an attention getter. My name is Tom Stroup, and you've been watching Find the Right Road. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.